I say this with seriousness and respect, but your department is out of control. You are spending like you don't have a budget. You're on the verge of running out of money for the fiscal year. You are illegally refusing to spend funds that have been authorized by this Congress and appropriated by this committee. You are ignoring the immigration laws of this nation, implementing a brand new immigration system that you have invented that has little relation to the statutes that you are required, that you are commanded to follow, as spelled out in your oath of office. You are routinely violating the rights of immigrants who may not be citizens, but whether you like it or not, they have constitutional and statutory rights when they reside in the United States. Your agency acts as if laws don't matter, as if the election gave you some mandate to violate the Constitution and the laws passed by this Congress. It did not give you that mandate. You act as if your disagreement with the law, or even the public's disagreement with the law, is relevant and gives you the ability to create your own law. It does not give you that ability. Let's start with your spending. You are on track to trigger the Anti-Deficiency Act. That means you are going to spend more money than you have been allocated by Congress. This is a rare occurrence, and it is wildly illegal. Your agency will be broke by July, over 2 months before the end of the fiscal year. You may not think that Congress has provided enough money to ICE, but the Constitution and the federal law does not allow you to spend more money than you have been given or to invent money. And this obsession with spending at the border, as the chairwoman mentioned, has left the country unprotected elsewhere. The security threats to the United States are higher, not lower, than when Trump came to office. To fund the border, you have illegally gutted spending for cybersecurity. As we speak, Russian and Chinese hackers are having a field day attacking our nation. You've withdrawn funds for disaster prevention. Storms are going to kill more people in this country because of your illegal withholding of these funds. Your myopia about the border, fueled by President Trump's prejudice against people who speak a different language, has shattered many of this country's most important defenses. Now let's talk about the impoundments. When Congress appropriates funds for a specific purpose, the administration has no discretion as to whether to spend or not spend that money unless you go through a very specific process with this committee. Let me give you two of many instances of this illegal impoundment. The first is a shelter and services program. Senator Britt may want to zero that account out, but that account is funded, and it was funded in a bipartisan way. You don't like the program. Your policy is to treat migrants badly. I think that's abhorrent, but it doesn't matter that you don't like the program. You cannot cancel spending in this program, and you cannot use the funds as you have to fund other things like ICE. You have also canceled citizenship and integration grants, which help lawful permanent residents become citizens, helping them take the citizenship test. I know your goal is to try to make life as hard as possible for immigrants, but that goal is not broadly shared by the American public. That's why Congress, in a bipartisan way, for decades, has funded this program to help immigrants in this country become citizens. Now let's talk about why encounters at the southern border are down so much. This is clearly going to be your primary talking point today. You will tell us that it represents a success. But the primary reason why encounters are down is because you are brazenly violating the law every hour of every day. You are refusing to allow people showing up at the southern border to apply for asylum. I acknowledge that you don't believe that people should be able to apply for asylum, but you don't get to choose that. The White House doesn't get to choose that. The law requires you to process people who are showing up at the border and who claim asylum. Why? Because our asylum law is a bipartisan commitment, an effort to correct for our nation's unconscionable decision to deny entry to Jews to this country who were being hunted and killed by the Nazis. Our nation, Republicans and Democrats, decided, wrote it into law, that we would not repeat that horror ever again, and thus we would allow for people who were fleeing terror and torture to come here, arrive at the border, and make a case for asylum. Finally, let's talk about these disappearances. In an autocratic society, people who the regime does not like are people who are protesting the regime. They are just often picked up off the street, spirited away, sometimes to open-ended detention, sometimes they're never seen again. What you are doing, both the individuals who have legal rights to stay here, like Kilmar Abrego Garcia, or students who are just protesting Trump's policies, is immoral. And to follow the theme, it is illegal. You have no right to deport a student visa holder with no due process simply because they have spoken in a way that offends the president. You can't remove migrants who a court has given humanitarian protection from removal. Now, reports suggest that you are planning to remove immigrants with no due process and send them to prisons in Libya. Libya is in the middle of a civil war. It is subject to a level 4 travel advisory, meaning we tell American citizens never to travel to Libya. We don't have an embassy there because it is not safe for our diplomats. Sending migrants with pending asylum claims into a war zone just because it's cruel is so deeply disturbing. Listen, I understand that my Republican colleagues on this committee don't view the policy the way that I do. My Republican colleagues don't share my level of concern for the way that this administration treats immigrants. That's fine. But what I don't understand is why we don't have consensus in the Senate and on this committee on the decision by this administration to impound the spending that we have decided together to allocate in defense of this nation. We as an appropriations committee, we work interminable hours to write and pass a budget. This budget is really hard to write and pass. And so we make ourselves irrelevant when we allow the administration to ignore what we have decided. And then when we look the other way, when the administration rounds up immigrants who are here illegally and have committed no offenses worthy of detainment, we also do potential irreversible damage to the Constitution. These should not be partisan concerns, destroying the power of Congress, eroding individuals' constitutional rights. This should matter to both parties.
Nigel Farage is referred to the Parliamentary Standards Committee over a £5 million personal gift.
£5 million from a donor.
This one, until today, was kept secret.
Rather suspicious that Nigel Farage tried to keep this secret rather than let us know that he is massively in the debt of one particular billionaire in one particular industry.
We are about to place our Bitcoin order.
Nigel Farage promoting a crypto company. He's repeatedly promoted the whole sector, where much of Christopher Harborne's fortune has been made. Do you like them? Very expensive, but guess what? I bought them myself. How about that?
No money in politics. No money if you're straight.
Right.
If you're
Corrupt, there's probably
yeah, but there's no money in politics. No money if you're straight.
Right.
If you're corrupt.
If Nigel Farage received $5 million just so he could later hand back $1 billion in return, that is not a gift, it is a dirty deal. And it is not just him. There are around 600 ministers and politicians in the UK, and if every one of them takes $5 million from wealthy businessmen, that adds up to a staggering $600 billion given back to them from public funds. There are only roughly 3,500 billionaires in the whole world, yet they control and buy influence everywhere. This is pure, total corruption. You enter politics to serve the people, not to fill your own pockets. You take money from rich people, and in return you give away billions of our money, the public's money, straight back to them. That is stealing from every citizen, from every family struggling with the cost of living. $5 million is a fortune, enough to change a life forever. No one needs that for public service. Nigel Farage has been caught out. He cannot be trusted. He should resign immediately and be banned from politics forever, so no one else follows this shameful path. We need clean politics, not politics for sale.
Accusation of a racial slur was treated more seriously than an act of murder. What does he say? I can't breathe. Familiar words? Remember career criminal George Floyd, who died in appalling circumstances in Midwest America a few years ago. Remember the reaction to that and the way the police behaved. Within a few days, Keir Starmer was taking the knee. Black Lives Matter exploded all over the country. Churchill's statue was defaced, the cenotaph was vandalised. And yet, what has the public reaction been from our leaders and politicians, and indeed, to be frank, much of the media to this? Silence. Absolute silence. Proof, if ever there was any, that we're living in a two-tier culture in this country where the rights and privileges of white people matter less than those of ethnic minorities.
Represents 4 working days and 1 journey.
And what's that in English money?
Well, we're talking about £1,900. It's a good job, this. I mean, I reckon I worked it out, because so much of what you get is after tax. But if you used the secretarial allowances to pay your wife, on top of all the other games that you could play, I reckon this job in sterling terms is worth over £250,000 a year to you. That's what you'd need to earn working for Goldman Sachs or someone like
that. He put you and supporting you ahead of that, because reform must have been mortified.
Again, I think it shows the character of Ant Middleton. He's a very strong man, and that's what this country needs. It needs strong men, not weak men, and it needs principled men. So Ant Middleton, and if you look at what he said, he didn't speak about me having a perfect history. He spoke about my journalism of what he's watched and my investigations, and he said that it was important work.
Yeah, and Ant doesn't have a perfect history.
No, it doesn't. No,
and who does?
Who does? Nigel doesn't.
No.
Trust me, right? That shit I got on him.
What do you mean?
I've got so much, man. He's a snake. What? He's a rat. I've got loads. Again, only when.
But are you talking about professionally? Are you talking about politically?
I'm talking about personally, politically, financially. I'm talking about all of it. The man surrounds himself with money launderers for the cartels. It's like fraudsters, but yet he keeps having a kick at me. And not just keeps having a kick at me, I know everything about his sordid personal life. And I've made sure I know everything. And I've had to know everything because he's sitting on national TV telling people that I've got convictions for violence against women. My ex-wife, whilst I'm sat on storage confinement, is having to put a statement out and explain to my kids when they go to school, people might be saying your dad's violent against me. It's because of Nigel Farage. He put my family in such a shit position at the worst moment in my life because he's a coward who's tried going on the attack on behalf of the establishment. So up until this point, I'd never attacked Nigel Farage. I just kept saying, stop attacking us. Yeah, stop attacking us. But I know so much about him now. And again, I don't want to waste my time on it. I've always say I don't want to waste my time on that. And unfortunately, I don't want to upset all the reform supporters or members.
Yes.
Because I know many of them see the only solution.
There's a lot who love United Kingdom
I get it.
As well.
So